Welcome to the Philosophy for Philistines channel on January the 21st, 2021, on a snowy day out there. I'm going to talk about technocracy today and its grab for a resource-based economy and its ability to control the discourse. All the alt-right prophecies of the release of the dreaded Kraken have now proven to be false. It's an extremely dangerous thing to prophesy falsely. And everything I foresaw is now history. As I have previously stated, the worst is yet to come. America will burn along the same divide she did in 1861, with one major difference. The Democrats, with all their identity politics and talk of a socialist reset, are now in control of D.C., and many, if not most Republicans, still feel something went desperately wrong with the electoral process. Something uglier and completely contrary to civil order is coming. I take no pleasure in saying any of these things, but there are certain principles that govern how mankind will react under a given set of circumstances. And the current set of circumstances we have right now is rife to producing civil disorder. Until you measure the actual differences between political ideologies correctly, understanding the left wing versus the right wing is impossible. Those who are truly of the right wing are anti-collectivists who believe in limited constitutional government, free trade unrestrained by state intervention, and a rule of law which defends negative human rights, which can prevent you from taking what is mine or from me taking that which is yours. These core beliefs are wrapped up in the theory that equal opportunity serves civil society best. The left, on the other hand, views humanity as a herd, rejects individual liberty, believes in identity politics, controlled economies, and equality of outcome. They believe the state alone can ensure equality of distribution, and unlike the right, who leaves that entirely to the free market, they intend to create a scenario where they will control it, with one major caveat in this regard under this new system. According to the World Economic Forum, this system is going to be controlled by technocrats who are deep in bed with big government, so big tech in bed with big government, controlling access to resources. The most right-wing ideology of all, therefore, is classical liberalism in the English sense, while the current cadre of oligarchs calling themselves liberal are, in fact, illiberal authoritarians who intend to rob you of your liberty and your property. How do I know? Because they have. We are no longer free. Democracy has largely become an illusion, and freedom of speech is all but dead, which was proven by how quickly big tech deplatformed Parler the other day. This feed is proof, because if any of us dare question the orthodoxy which has captured the minds and hearts of our fellows, we are often bullied and silenced, kicked off of Facebook, deplatformed, and what have you. I suppose I have a contrarian temperament, and that if my gut tells me that the current prevalent groupthink is out of sync with the natural world, I just find myself unable to go along with it just for the sake of fitting in. This has left me the odd man out throughout my life, and fortunately, I'm not averse to that. I spent a great deal of time thinking, meditating, praying, reading, and doing research as to how on earth it is possible for the majority of folk to swallow such peculiar, unnatural beliefs. I have come to a conclusion about that process after doing research as to how totalitarian ideologies emerge. Using Nazi Germany as an example, there is some glaring evidence that Hitler did not brainwash Germans into committing mass murder of the Jews. Rather, he told them what they wanted to hear. They wanted to believe that the Jew was the enemy. Solzhenitsyn stated in his treatise, The Gulag Archipelago, that in some odd way the prisoners were as guilty as their jailers. We are all responsible to help form the collective consciousness. The current societal pathology is a direct result of Western society abandoning the grand narratives which made it possible to replace them with collectivism, identity politics, a cult of victimhood, and a general belief that life is nothing other than a material struggle for distribution of resources. If you read the information on the World Economic Forum's own website, it states that very thing as the reason for them advocating the Great Reset of Build Back Better. But of course, life is not fundamentally a material struggle. Rather, it is a quest for meaning. And only the sovereign, self-actualized, and accountable person can find said meaning. Meaning cannot be derived from surrendering your consciousness to the social collective. For as Nietzsche predicted, the rejection of God must lead to the creation of the person who supersedes their own humanity. Throughout the 20th century, this has only led to tyranny and ruin. And now it's happening again. From Joshua Phillip, investigative journalist from Ecop Times and host of Crossroads, he published a vlog the other day where he interviewed Patrick Wood on the rise of technocracy. And he states, big tech has demonstrated its ability to censor, cancel, and even destroy competitors on a whim. And as America watches these companies enforce standards based on political bias, concerns over the expanding power of big tech are growing. According to Patrick Wood, director of Citizens for Free Speech, these developments should have been expected, as America is under an expanding technocracy. So in this podcast, which I have put the link in here below this video, I want you all to listen to it. Mr. Wood speaks about that with Joshua. And basically, the idea of technocracy emerged at Columbia University in the 30s, shortly after the Frankfurt School had fled Nazi Germany to the US. And engineers and scientists at Columbia were advocating that a technocracy where engineers and scientists control the distribution of resources was a solution to all of man's ills. There's this constant theme in radical, collective, socialist ideologies that the pie is finite and that you have to make sure that the right people are getting all the right slices. And of course, there's never any people so equal as the ones who run that system. Well, the fact remains the pie is not finite. We have been able to feed more people, lift more people out of poverty, create more wealth, and allow people to flourish, granting them access to materialism that they could have never had in any other way other than via an open market and free market individual economic liberty, which the left calls capitalism, but I hate that word because it was coined by the left. It's actually a derogatory term. There's a recent video showing a young woman in Scandinavia, where else? Scandinavia, who stated that she owned nothing, didn't own the clothes on her back, didn't own the cutlery in the kitchen, didn't own pots and pans. She rented everything. And she was saying in the video how happy she was to own nothing and rent everything. This is what the left wants for you now. They are coming for your property. And the entire principle behind classical liberalism is based on property rights. There is no freedom without the freedom to own and to prosper and to grow. There is no freedom without the freedom to express oneself. These things, all of these things, are under attack in an unprecedented way. But it's time to wake up, and it's time to realize that only we can alter the collective consciousness. It is our job to take to task with reasoned discourse this utter nonsense. I had a young fellow, I assume it's a fellow, arguing with me on my second last vlog, and he deliberately misconstrued everything I had stated. And when I pointed out time and time again the errors in his assumptions, his only comeback was to reiterate his assumptions and, of course, to call names. These are dangerous times. And the worst is yet to come. The only thing that can mitigate this situation is for you and I to hold our ground and to refuse to submit to this collectivist pathology. It is a mind worm, and it needs to be exposed for what it is. You have a great day, folks. All the links to these things I'm posting below. You get to the World Economic Forum's website. Look at what they have to say, the authors of the idea behind the Great Reset. Please listen to that podcast, and even go back, it'll be 3 videos ago now, 3 vlogs ago, and read. You have to sign into Google and go into YouTube and read what the discussion I had with this young chap, whose profile picture is a skull with a stake driven up through it, which pretty much reveals what he thinks about mankind. Mankind has a death wish. Solzhenitsyn stated that even if we were to live in bubbles of bliss, where everything was perfect, that man would risk his own cakes just to consume the most uneconomical rubbish, just to prove he isn't a piano key. We need to get into the past and resurrect the great ideas that have made Western civilization possible. And that is your responsibility, as it is mine. You have a great day, folks. Please think. Please leave comments. Get involved in this debate. And I'm grateful for your assistance in this. Also, subscribe, ring the bell, and share. Have a great day.